during COVID, my family and I are all Habs fans.
Oh, you're a Hat fan too?
Yeah.
Hence the cheers.
And yeah, just to have those moments, like they won 13 playoff games and they beat the Leafs.
Yeah, it's
That was so good.
That was a little unexpected, and they sure haven't done it since.
No,
But
I think they're on the right road.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. So, Jay Fogerty, when did you start working here? Were you a camper?
I was a camper
Yeah.
here for 4 years, and then I was on staff for 5.
Yeah. And what year would that have been?
75 through 83.
Mm-hmm. And who was your counselor starting out?
All right. Well, Ian Foltz was my counselor twice.
Any particular memories of that?
Well, he was a great guy.
Yeah. I assume he was kind of the same. As,
Yeah. People don't change.
No.
You know, those things. And Margie Lawrence, then Margie Bennett, was my cousin.
All right.
And she is my cousin. And she was working here, and she said, this was before I came, she said, you got Ian, he's a great counselor.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was new, I didn't know what I was getting into, and he impressed me from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good guy, good leader.
Yeah. And what did you do on staff?
Counselor, well, CIT counselor, and then worked at Waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
Did, a lot of canoeing.
Yeah. Now, you had an award that you gave out at the Waterfront for paddlers.
Correct.
What was the name of it?
Oh, I have to mind the memory banks on that one, because I remember slaving over writing the names on the paddles.
Yeah.
And I can't write very well, and I'd labor over it, and eventually I got, I think it may have been Margot Stothers, who has beautiful penmanship, to do it for me, because...
And that award was in the dining hall for years and
yes,
years and
years. It was.
Um,
But at a certain point, it would have run out of room, not too long after I was there.
there was one name on it that was there more than anyone. Who was that? I know the name, so this is kind of a test.
Is it
Yep.
is
She's
Joanne
here.
Bork?
No, Joe
Help me on this one.
Day.
Oh yes, Joanne Day, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was she was a gifted paddler.
Yeah.
She got into the canoe, I remember it. And she'd, from day one, she made that canoe dance.
Mm-hmm.
Without experience, she just got into it and did it.
Yeah.
And,
It's like, some people get on a horse, right? And they feel comfortable on a horse.
she was very comfortable in a canoe. Yeah.
Ah.
So what happened to the paddle? Is it around somewhere?
It
Or?
must be.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody bought it in the auction.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. Who'd you hang around with when you were on staff?
Oh, well, being here for a number of years, there was a
Many
there
people,
was,
yeah. All right, Jay Fogerty.
Peter Curtis.
Tell me about CCR.
Well, a little before my time, but John Fogerty is actually a very distant cousin.
All right.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, no joke on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't know me, but someone reached out to me and said, are you Jay Fogerty? And I said, yeah. And I said, well, did you? And his name was Fogerty as well.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the U.S. He said, do you know we're related to John Fogerty's CCR? And I said, no, but thank you for letting me know. That's my one very, very small claim to fame.
All right. You play guitar?
No, I have no musical talent. So obviously those genes did not make it to me.
You own any CCR albums?
I'm sure I do. One of the things with digital storage, you get so much music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, couldn't tell you which ones, but I'm sure I do.
Yeah. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guy. Yeah.
Why, are you a CCR fan, or?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's,
I had a double album of greatest hits or something. They had like a blue and a red album or something.
They did put out a lot.
Yeah.
They put out a lot of material.
So your time here at camp, Uncle Don was the director.
Yep.
What was that like?
He was an icon.
Yeah.
You know, really for the camp, a leader in many different ways.
How so?
Well, he set the tone for a lot of things, and you know, gave gentle guidance on what we needed to do, but without being too overbearing in doing so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
You ever get in trouble?
No.
Did you ever get in trouble that he never found out about?
Well, then it wouldn't have been trouble.
Yeah,
I mean,
guess.
I was lucky a couple of times when I just happened to be in the right place to avoid something happening, and if I hadn't, you know, walked away from something at a certain point, he would have been there. But there was never trouble with a capital T with him.
Yeah.
It was, you know, those gentle guidelines, and he was the sort of person that people listened to.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to.
And you didn't want to disappoint him.
Right. So I think that's a great way to describe it. So that a gentle word had a tremendous influence on one's behavior. How's that?
That's pretty good. Any aspects of camp that you've incorporated into your everyday life?
That's an interesting question. Probably an appreciation for the environment. And that was instilled fairly early on here. And before its time.
Yeah.
You know, an awareness of the environment. You know, very widespread now, but back then it wasn't as much. So I would say that was incorporated into sort of my mental makeup at that time.
And even just going on trips and stuff, just the idea of, you know, bringing everything out with you.
Yeah, and I tripped a fair bit afterwards.
Yeah.
So you know, and camp sort of got that whole thing started.
Yeah. And how about the effect on you of being having diabetes and showing up at a place where there's other people with diabetes? Because I don't have diabetes, and you know, this place, you know, is inside of me, and I don't even have that extra element of like I found my clan or whatever.
Well, I've been extraordinarily lucky. I was speaking with someone yesterday who said that being here normalized it. You know, you weren't any different. Particularly for campers that have had difficulty integrating it into their lives, and then coming to a place where they're just like everyone else. It lets them be someone with diabetes as opposed to a diabetic.
Yeah. And
I think it's important.
Was that profound on you? That it seems to have been on other people here?
Well, I think going back to I was lucky. I was knock on wood, but I never really had major problem.
Yeah.
So it never. I was just lucky.
Yeah.
And control was fairly. I was lucky in that it was fairly easy for me. It wasn't as much of a challenge as it was for some. And it's pure genetic luck.
Yeah.
So that it didn't play as profound a role for me as it did for some other people in terms of management on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Nice. How do you feel walking around here this weekend?
Well, you know, we were talking about it before. It's, you know, a combination of nostalgia and reminiscence and seeing people I hadn't seen for 30-odd years.
Yeah.
And it's really quite something. It's interesting. People don't change. You know,
People
we're all a
don't
little bit
change.
older. You know, a little less hair in my case, but fundamentally we're the same people.
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing that. You know, despite the decades, we're the same people.
Yeah. And your relationship, when you see them again, you just fall into the same.
And I think that's a reflection of the intensity of relationships at camp.
Yeah.
You know, campers come
Talk about that a little bit. What makes relationships here more intense than other places?
That's a great question, and one I try to explain to my kids. In part, it's the 24/7 nature of it.
Yeah.
But it's
That you're
also,
exhausted.
yeah, that's part of it.
Like everything just stripped away, right?
But
Like,
it's also the sort of the intensity, the emotional experience.
yeah.
So, I'd say that I added it up. I was here for 50 odd weeks,
Yeah.
roughly a year if you added them all up.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than that, but it represents considerably more than 1/59th of my life.
Yeah. That's right. Because you've got people here, flying from BC or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been here.
People coming from BC, people coming from Caymans, people coming from PEI. I mean, there's people coming from all over the place. So it obviously, it's that intensity of the emotional experience is reasonably common.
Yeah. Now you seem kind of introverted here. Were you an introvert at camp, or were you more out there?
I'd say I was probably in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it now, anyway, is just thinking back, which may characterize itself as introversion.
Yeah.
But I can get out there if I need to.
Yeah.
I'm just comfortable in.
Yeah, that's me too. I can be an introvert for a little bit, and then I'll go back.
Yeah, I can play whatever role I need to play.
Yeah.
So tell me about yourself.
Oh my God.
I know we're switching roles here.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
How did you start at camp?
Just a silly fluke. Like I put my name on the Ontario Camping Association list, and they just send your resume to every camp. And Dave Anderson phoned me, and we had a little chat, and he offered me a job as a counselor.
And what year was that?
That was '88, and I said, other camps are sending me stuff. I haven't looked through it all. Give me a couple weeks. And he said, I might not have a job in 2 weeks. And I said, that's okay. That's okay. And he called me back in a couple weeks. I'd done nothing about all the other stuff. And I said, all right, well, your camp looks as good as any
So
other
you
camp,
roll the dice
so-
and see what happened?
all right, yeah. And I just showed up, and yeah, I couldn't believe this place existed, really, when I was here.
And had you worked at other camps too?
No, I'd never gone to camp.
So you really had no camp experience.
Nothing.
How
I was outdoorsy, and actually, I remember sitting in residence with a guy at University at Queens, and he said, "You need to work at a camp." I was
just
like,
because of your personality?
yeah, I guess so. And things I was interested in, nature, and yeah. So I thought, okay, all
Give it a
right,
shot.
how do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is this
think I
the
went to
first
some-
year?
Yeah.
First year in residence?
Yeah. When I was 19. I was 19 my first year at camp, and I stayed till 96. Yeah.
And what did you do? You're a counselor.
Counselor, adventures for 2 years, CITs for 4 years, and then program.
So you wore many different hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what did you get from it?
What did I get from it? Well, I was kind of awkward, kind of like this, a little bit awkward.
But a lot of us go through that phase.
Yeah. And just to be able to show up here, and, your awkwardness wasn't awkwardness here. It was almost celebrated. Like, do that on track thing where whatever, and people are laughing. Like,
Camp was very conducive to a range of personalities.
yeah, and everybody was celebrated, right? Like every kid won an award. Everybody, just the self-esteem that everybody
Yeah.
got out of it. Yeah.
And it's interesting you mention that because you really saw some campers blossom.
Mm-hmm.
They came in, if they were new at camp, a little shy sort of thing. And you could see even over the relatively short time span of 2 weeks, how their personalities became much more apparent.
Yeah.
Much more outgoing and comfortable.
Yeah, and their parents write letters saying, "Oh my God, my son is a different person." Yeah, they don't want me to give their needle anymore because they're giving their needle, and now they want to go on sleepovers and stuff, and they're a whole different person.
I remember one set of parents. They had twins here. Twins had never been to camp. And they were 12, 13, something like that. And I remember the parents saying to me, our kids are very shy, very cautious. Okay, that's cool. Just a role for everybody. Well, you give them a couple of days, and they were no longer shy and cautious.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the parents sent me a note saying, "What happened to to our children at camp? They came back different people than they were before."
In 2 weeks.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Obviously the framework is there. It just hadn't had an opportunity to show itself.
Yeah. I work in the outdoor education field for a school board, and I'm doing either half-day programs or full-day programs. And a lot of times people want me to do more half-day programs just to get through more students.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to explain it
Is a
this
half day
is
enough?
fast food. Yeah, this is not a meal. If you have a half day, it's a taste. And if you have a full day, well, that's a snack. And if I could have a few days with them, that would be something. And give me a couple weeks, you can change lives, right?
So when you were 19, did you think you'd end up going that direction?
I went to school for English, and so I kind of thought maybe I'd be a teacher, but like an English teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
And has camp had long-lasting effects for you?
I married the horse lady.
Well, that's a pretty significant one.
All my close friends are camp people. Yeah.
And so you maintained
Yeah,
a
and
lot of
just
contact
that,
with
that if I could go back in time and that phone call where Dave Anderson phones me, and I just tell him, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you call me back or not, because I've got a lot of offers from a lot of camps, and it doesn't matter.
It's amazing
just
how
that's, it almost scares me in retrospect of thinking that I said that to him.
how that chance thing that you said yes because you could have gone to a different camp,
Yeah.
and yet your life trajectory could have been completely different.
Yeah.
You know?
And who knows, maybe I would have been happy with that, but I don't want that risk.
Wow.
Jay Fogerty, thank you
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the chat.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you for letting me know something about yourself.
Yeah. You didn't even think you had anything to say?
Well, your stuff was more interesting to me than anything